It's always great to come back in and talk about being 1-0 last week. And that was our goal, being 1-0, and that's to be able to come into a week of against an opponent like TCU is off of a win. Definitely helps. There's a lot of things we've got to do better. I thought that defensively we continue to play very well. We play with great passion. These guys are flying around to the football, creating turnovers, and I definitely think that you can look at the improvement of this football team by just looking at the end result of what last week was about. Because a year ago this time, it would have been it would have I don't know if we would have came out on the end that we came out with the end result, because just trying to teach these guys how to win and overcome adversity. Adversity was all over the field, especially from the second half on the other night. I thought our culture did a great job of overcoming. When we had to have some mental toughness, we were able to withstand and lean on each other. I thought offensively had to lean on our defense, and that was definitely true. We haven't quite made the difference in special teams that we need to make at this point, and that's been a concern as well. But when we had to have a drive and we had to have a field goal to go up by 8 toward the end, we were able to execute that, and that shows you that we're definitely, this football team's improving, especially when you consider all the young guys on there. Biggest concern that I've got right now is obviously our red zone offense, and you know, we're really anemic in that area, very non-existent. And that's a huge concern. Not only when we get down there, we're not coming away with points, but we're turning the football over, and that's something that's got to stop. It has to stop in order for us to get this football team where we need to go. If there is a good thing out of that, it's definitely correctable. We've got to quit pressing. I think that Ben presses when he gets down inside the 15, 18-yard line. And that's something that we've got to hit a reset button, refocus on the moment, refocus on that one play at a time mentality that we so much live by, and quit trying to make things happen. I thought that our scheme is well prepared down in the red zone. We've just got to be able to execute, and that's attention to the details and the technique that we execute with. So. That was a concern coming out of the ball game, but again, the great thing about it is we came out 1-0, and defense is playing extremely well. And as long as they can continue to play well, we'll get the offense fixed. That's what we do. That's something that we take great pride in, and we've always been one of the top offenses, red zone offenses in all of college football over the last several years. It's just we're just struggling right now. We've got a lot of young kids out there, but that's no excuse. We got to get it done. We got to get points. The name of the game is points. The name of the game is scoring touchdowns. You got to eliminate your turnovers, especially in the red zone. That's costly because it takes points off the board. So with that, I'm extremely excited about where we are, the direction this football team is going. Got unbelievable respect for Coach Patterson and what he has done in his tenure there at TCU. There's not a better guy in the country at what he does, and their players have been in their system. They believe in their system, and from a defensive standpoint, these guys play exceptionally well. They're always one of the top defenses in all of college football, year in and year out, and it's not by just an accident. It's because of the coaching and the pride that they take in playing great defense. Offensively, they've been as explosive as anybody over the last couple of years, and they've done a great job of putting their playmakers in space, and that hasn't changed looking at this year. Kenny Hill is obviously a transfer, being able to play in a game right just like this in his own backyard, coming from South Lake, and having recruited Kenny when we at our previous stop. Phenomenal talent, a great competitor, and this guy has won his entire career. Got an unbelievable running back in Kyle Hicks, And the wide receiver core that they put out there on the field is they definitely spread you out, a lot of empty. But they do a really good job of running the football. And what they do well. They get these guys in space. Taj Williams is as dynamic a receiver as we've been around. The Cavante Turpin, I know he went out last week, but I would imagine that he would be back and playing. But definitely sound. They've got some experience up front. The offensive line, led by their center, and their right guard is definitely a player. The prior kid, very 6'5", 350. So they got size up front, and again, what they do well. So with that, I'm gonna open up questions.
You had recruited Matt and Kenny, and obviously with paying him transfer. Talk about kind of what a luxury it is to have when you get a transfer quarterback. How much easier that makes the transition.
Well, they're both great competitors, you know, and that's the one thing you look at with the quarterback. You look at how he responds when things aren't going well around him. Every quarterback I've ever been around, when things don't go well around them, they always find a way to hit a reset button and to get back on track. And Kenny's no different, just as Matt hasn't been. He's got the ability to make plays with his feet, extend the plays, and as they spread you out from a wide receiver standpoint, get you isolated one-on-ones, and then if something breaks down, you know, Kenny's definitely has the talent and athletic enough to cause you some mismatches. And, but both of those guys are definitely great competitors. But to be able to come in with experience, being a transfer guy, you know, he's been a part of going against some great defenses. So, you know, they're going to do what they do. That's the one thing that you do when you get to this level and you get to your program established as they've been so established over the last 7, 8, 9 years. They've won on a consistent level, and it's because of they believe in their system and they do what they do. And Coach made a change a few years ago offensively. These guys believe in it, and they've got the playmakers around them to cause some problems, as we saw last year. They throw a slant and they go for 65 yards on a 3-yard slant route. So that's what they do. But from a defensive standpoint, as you look at them, from our offense to their defensive standpoint, you know, they do a great job of getting the extra hat in the box, whether it's a safety, whether it's an outside backer, their rover, whoever it is, they do a great job of it. And they're defensively up front. When you start looking at Josh Caraway, a senior, 6'4", 250, well experienced. Aaron Curry, 95, 6'2", 270, 13 tackles, 3.5 TFLs, 3.5 sacks. I mean, these guys here they're definitely going to cause some sleepless nights this week and how we try to block these guys. But again, it's what they do. And their linebackers are solid. Ty Summers, 26 tackles. He leads the team with those, with the tackles, 1.5 TFLs, 2 pass breakups. They did move a receiver over last week. Deontay Gary moved him from wide receiver to corner, and so again, you know, you start looking at that. Their safeties are very active in the run game, extremely active, and Nick Orr with 19 tackles, one of the top tackle guys on the team. So we've got great respect for these guys, and we've got our work cut out for us. We've got to worry about SMU. We've got to worry about scoring points when we get down in the red zone. We got to continue to get takeaways, and we got to do something with it. We got to score points in the red zone, and points off of takeaways. We had, I believe, four takeaways last week and only scored 10 points. And man, it puts you into a ball game down the wire when you're unable to score points off of creating turnovers.
With the diversity you develop at running back and receivers, you seem to have all the tools there. Is it a mental thing, you think? can put some.
Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. It's when you get down there and you got a young guy or a couple of young guys out there, they try to press. And, you just got to go play. And you got to let it, you got to, and we say it all the time, you have to operate within the system. When you start operating outside the system is when you get in trouble. Yes, you may get by within it here and there, but you got to stay within the system. And our system is set. Our system is proven. We know what we want to do, and we've got to go execute. We got guys open. We got to be able to hit those guys. When you take number 3 vertical and the mic carries, and we got number 2 coming in underneath him, you got to hit those guys. Rep it. You go over it and practice. Specifically set drills up for that. Coach Craddock does, and he himself will get out there and be a mic linebacker. He'll be, the main read guy, and to get out there and not to execute it, it's frustrating. It is, and but at the same sense, you've got to go to the next play, and so it's all about creating. And we just want points. Get points out of the red zone, and cut the turnovers.
Since you've been here, you've talked about how teams make a jump from their first week to the second week, and for Ben, Liberty was game 2. What differences did you see in his performance between Waco and against Liberty?
I thought between the 20s, I thought he did well early. I thought he struggled throwing a spiral, and as the game progressed, I don't think he was quite as sharp as he was at the Baylor game. But we got great confidence in Ben. This football team has great confidence in Ben. I think he was a young guy that had a hard time shaking off that first interception, and I think it truly affected him. And what's one thing we've talked about is body language. We've talked about that, and those things. If you want to get and be a great quarterback at this level, or at any level, you got to be able to respond to the next play. And if you keep harping on the last play and you let it affect your performance over the course of time, it's tough. And but that's part of being young. That's part of growing. A lot of times when you get guys like Ben, he's got great confidence. They feel like they got all the answers. They feel like that they can do it and get themselves into the rhythm themselves, and get frustrated when they can't do it. And so as we shared with him, Coach Craddock's talked with him, he said, look, you got to let us help you now. We're going to help you. We're going to get you right, but you've got to operate within the system.
Played 3 running backs the other night, Braden West and Kamen Freeman and Jordan Carmouche. At what point do you realize someone like Braden's having a big night and rely heavily on him, and then abandon your plan of rotating the 3? Is that hard to juggle?
Well, it is, but when you get later in the game, when you put the ball in a young kid's hand, one thing that we've not done a very good job of coming into this game is we've laid the ball on the ground from a running back standpoint, and so I made the decision that, look, I'm going to go with our experienced guy in critical situations here, and so that was with Braden. So that was on me. I wanted to make sure that in critical situation, I wanted a guy that's been there before, and so that's why we just chose to go with Braden. I thought Jordan Carmouche ran well. I thought Kamen wasn't quite as sharp as he was the weeks before, even though he ran hard. But when the game was on the line, I wanted the ball in Braden's hands, and that was by design.
Is that a hard decision when he's the most experienced guy, but also the smallest of your 3?
Yeah, it really is. But you go with experience. Experience trumps all that all day long, and that's one of the things that I've always lived by is those guys with experience. Try to get those guys the ball in a critical situation if you can. There's times you can't. Sometimes it's short yardage and you want the bigger guy in there. We brought Kamen in a 3rd and 1 or 2 right there toward the end of the game. When we had to have it, bigger body, you do that, you just take your chances. But over the long haul, from pass protection standpoints to running the football, you try to go with your experience if you can. Hopefully we'll get Xavier Jones back this week. We'll see. Don't know if this is a nagging injury, then we'll look at if this is something that's going to carry on through the course of the season, then we'll have to make a decision on whether or not he's even going to play this year or not. So we don't know at this point. We'll wait and see. If he's ready to go, he'll play. If not, then we've got to make a decision at some point. That the last thing you want is a nagging injury that's going to affect you all year long, when you could have just said, hey, we're just going to hold you in redshirt you this year. So but we'll see. We'll make that decision as it gets closer.
I just think we're not listening to that chart at all. Do you have when he might be able to play again?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll go ahead and address that now with Nick. Nick will be having surgery. He'll be out this year. So he's done. It's
Any other
unfortunate
injury?
for him? He's such a great. He put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. But again, that's the game of football right now.
Any other injuries out of the Liberty game that you can update?
Oh, no, I think that was it. I don't think we really had anyone else. I think that's it. I think everybody else will be back. We'll wait and see on Xavier. He warmed up, still just didn't feel 100% healthy, so that was a decision for holding him. But hopefully he'll be back this week. But if not, then we're definitely going. Carmouche is going to play, so he's in. He's going to play. You'll see him involved on special teams as well.
Noticed Darryl was in a street clothes. Was that an injury situation or a reason he was called out?
Yeah. 99 problems a day. As a head coach. But yeah, Darryl is out with a right hand injury, and so it'll be several weeks before he gets back, if he's even back.
Looking at TCU big picture, how much does moving to the big help that?
Well, I think the number one thing that's helped that program out is they were very efficient, and they were good in the conference that they were in. They had a great vision as they won. They had the facilities built, and when the opportunity came knocking, they definitely embraced their opportunities, and so I think that there was a point in time to where it was we want to commit, we want to be good at what we do, and we're in the state of Texas, we want to be good at football. And they made a huge commitment many years ago. Again, I can say a lot of these things because I've been in this state my entire life. And when they made that commitment, and they got the right coach in there with Coach Patterson, I think the results have spoken for themselves, without a doubt.